Elias Thorne is a world-class liar. He does not lie for profit, nor for malice. He lies for something much more expensive, his dignity. When his daughter calls him on a Tuesday evening, he sits on the edge of a worn-out mattress, rubbing a knee that has lacked cartilage for a decade. He waits for his breathing to steady before he picks up. He makes his voice sound light. He tells her that the job at the grocery store, just outside Dayton, is refreshing. It is nice to get out of the house. That keeps his mind sharp. He tells her the back pain is gone and that he is actually thinking about taking a weekend trip soon. He lies to his coworkers, too. When the 19-year-old manager asks Elias if he wants to head home early because the store is slow, Elias forces a chuckle. He says he would rather stay. He tells them he would just be bored at home watching reruns of old westerns. He says he likes the hustle of the stocking floor, but every day at 12:15 p.m., the performance ends. Elias retreats to his 2014 Ford F-150. He locks the doors. The cabin is silent, save for the ticking of the engine as it cools. He pulls out his phone. His thumb hovers over the banking app, a small blue icon that has become his private confessional. He logs in. Face ID fails because his face is tightened in a grimace. He types the passcode. Then the lying stops, because numbers do not have feelings, and they definitely do not have mercy. There it is. The sum of 40 years of factory shifts, missed birthdays, overtime weekends, and a body that has been traded, piece by piece, to the altar of hard work. $112,000. To a 30-year-old watching this video, it looks like a six-figure milestone. It looks like a solid start. But to Elias Thorne, standing at the edge of 67, it does not sound like savings. It sounds like a countdown timer. Welcome back to Money Made Simple. I spend way too much time thinking about simplifying money and breaking down money to the simplest form. If you are someone who feels like you are working harder every single year, but your bank balance never seems to go up, hit that subscribe button. How does a man like Elias, a man who showed up early, stayed late, and never broke the law, end up with a finish line that looks more like a cliff? It was not a single catastrophic mistake. Elias did not gamble his money away in Vegas. He did not fall for a scam. His downfall was far more common and far more dangerous. He started working in the late 1970s. Back then, the deal was simple. You give the company 30 years and they give you a pension. You do not have to be a math genius. You do not have to study the S&P 500. You just show up. But midway through his career, the world shifted. The pension era died a quiet, corporate death. It was replaced by the 401k, a system that shifted the entire burden of survival from the employer to the employee. Suddenly, Elias was not just a worker. He was expected to be a fund manager. Discipline is easy to talk about when the sun is shining, but it is the first thing to go when the storm hits. In 1994, it was the roof. In 2002, it was Emily's college tuition. He could not let her start life with the debt he had. In 2008, he was laid off for 14 months, forcing him to borrow from his retirement account just to keep the lights on. Every time he took a withdrawal, he told himself the same lie he tells his daughter now. I will catch up next year. But next year is a mirage. By the time he hit 55, the compounding magic that everyone talks about on YouTube was not working for him. It was working against him. The gap between what he had and what he needed was no longer a crack. It was a canyon. And now, at 67, he is staring at $112,000. If he draws just $2,000 a month to supplement his Social Security, a modest amount in today's economy, his entire life savings will be gone by the time he is 72. What happens at 73? That is the question that keeps Elias Thorne awake at 3 a.m. The market does not reward hard work. It rewards assets. Elias Thorne worked harder than 90% of the people who will watch this video. He has the scars to prove it. But the market does not pay dividends on sweat. It pays dividends on capital. Most people are living a version of Elias's lie. They think that because they are busy, they are securing their future. They confuse activity with progress. They spend their 30s and 40s maximizing their income while ignoring their equity. Elias spent 40 years trading his time for dollars. The problem with that trade is that you eventually run out of time. And when you run out of time, your value in the marketplace drops to zero. Across the country, millions of people are walking into the same buzzsaw. They see their 401k balance hit six figures, and they feel a sense of relief. But they are not accounting for the silent thief, inflation. They are measuring their success in a currency that is melting in their hands. Elias sits in his truck, staring at aisle 7 through the windshield, and he realizes he is a ghost in a system that has moved on without him. He is the before picture in a financial brochure that no one wants to read. He remembers his old friend, Marcus. Marcus was not a hard worker. He was actually a bit lazy. But Marcus did one thing differently. He bought a duplex when he was 28. While Elias was working double shifts to get ahead, Marcus was letting time and other people's rent checks build a fortress. Today, Marcus is playing golf in Florida. Elias is stocking canned peas. The difference was not effort, it was leverage. The most painful part of Elias's day is not the work. He sees the illusion of time in the customer's eyes. He sees a young couple in aisle 4 laughing, buying expensive organic groceries. He sees the way they look at him. Or rather, the way they do not look at him. To them, he is a fixed object. He is the old guy. They think they have time. Elias wants to grab them by the shoulders. He wants to tell them, it happens faster than you think. The decade you think you have to start will be gone by Tuesday. But he does not. He just scans their items. He bags their groceries. He says, have a nice day. And most people do not actually want the truth. They want to keep lying to themselves until the very last second. Tonight, Elias goes home to his small house. It is a clean house. It is a paid-off house. That was his great pride, paying off the mortgage. But you cannot eat shingles and siding. He opens a drawer in the kitchen. Inside is a folder of old retirement projections from 2005. He remembers looking at them once. The paper showed that if he had increased his contribution by just 4%, he would be sitting on $500,000 today. He remembers why he did not do it. There was a car repair. Emily wanted a vacation. A feeling that he was doing enough. He closes the drawer. He does not feel anger anymore. He feels strange. Cold neutrality. He opens his notebook. He does not call it a budget anymore. He calls it survival accounting. He writes, I cannot afford surprises anymore. That is the ultimate cost of the lie. When you fail to build assets early, you trade your freedom for a life where surprises are the enemy. A broken tooth is a financial disaster. A leaking pipe is a tragedy. Elias Thorne is not a cautionary tale. He is a mirror. If you are watching this, you still have something Elias would trade that $112,000 for in a heartbeat. You have time, but time is a decaying asset. At Stratus Capital and White, we do not care about working hard. We care about working right. We care about shifting your life from a time for money trap to an asset for freedom reality. Elias did not make a big decision to fail. He made 1,000 small decisions to stay comfortable. He chose the fine life until fine was no longer an option. Do not be a world-class liar. Stop telling yourself you will start when things settle down. Stop assuming the future version of you will be smarter than the current version of you. The numbers do not have mercy, but they do have a manual. Elias Thorne is going back to work tomorrow morning at 6:10 a.m. He will button that blue vest. He will tell his daughter he is fine, and he will spend the rest of his life wondering what happened to the 40 years that felt like they would last forever. The question is not how Elias got here. The question is, what are you doing right now to make sure you do not meet him there? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next video. Subscribe to Money Made Simple, and I will see you in the next one.